Danielle over at DIYDanielle.com, and today I'm here to show you how to build an easy photo backdrop. This is actually what you put under products that you want to photograph, whether it be food. For me, I sew, so I'm using this for sewing a lot, and I'm actually making this for my friend who is a photographer, and she's going to use it for newborn shoots. Now, I will say that this is not the sturdiest thing you're ever going to see. It is only supported by 2 boards on each end, which is fine for my purposes and it's fine for hers. But if you have a lot of, this wouldn't work for like a kitchen table or anything where someone might be walking on it that's like a little bit heavier, like my kids or me. It's just not going to look good long term. But for our purposes, this is perfect. I'm actually doubling this as a sewing table so that I can cut my fabric on it. I needed something that would be dual purpose. So I made one for my upstairs and I'm making this one for my friend. And I just wanted to show you in a video exactly how to do this. Super easy if you have some basic woodworking skills. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with some boards. We have pine boards. They are 8 foot long. And I had them cut down. There's 11 boards. I had 2 cut down to 60 inches and I had the rest cut down into 43-inch cuts. There are a few things I'm going to be using today. I'm going to be using something called a countersink. And what this does, I'm not like the biggest woodworker ever, but my husband introduced me to these and they're wonderful. And they just basically drill a little hole, like an indentation, in your wood so that when you put your screw in or your nail, I guess you use it for screws, but it has something to sink into so that it's flush with the wood, or it's lower than the wood, so that way you can fill it in with wood filler, or you can just keep it as is. But I want that because I want it to be smooth across the top. I don't want to have anything sticking out a little bit, just because for my sewing table at least, I need it to be flat for cutting. And also because my screws that I'm using, which is what I had on hand, won't hit both boards unless I use the countersink. So, alright, let me show you what we have. Okay, here's our wood. It's all been cut down to size. The 2 pieces on the end, this side and that side, are 60 inches. And these pieces are all 43 inches long. Not sure. So 17 pieces here, 43 inches long. And this piece will actually be here on the bottom of our backdrop here. However, the way we're going to do it is we're going to keep these separate, and we're going to use our countersink to just add a hole to each one of these on either end, so that we can really quickly go through and do this without having to change back and forth for drill bits. See, there are our little indentations made by our countersink. They are big enough for the head of the screw, and we have 2 on each board that's on the very end on each side, but otherwise there is 1 per board. Okay, for the next part we are just going to line up our 43-inch boards on either side of our 60-inch board, and we're going to screw them right in. Okay, once you finish that side, as you can see, it's time to move over to this side and finish up this one as well. Make sure everything's even, and you'll know if you cut your wood straight, because if you didn't, you'll have uneven edges, or if you cut them all to the same length, that is. Okay, here it is. We are finished. Now, if you do not want to flip it over, if that's not important to you, I would suggest putting another piece of wood behind it in the middle and screwing that in as well. That will provide a little extra support. However, we are not going to do that because we want it to be able to be flipped and reversed if we wanted to. For the next part of the project, I need to sand over some of the edges here. You'll notice some of them are a little bit rough. I don't want to leave those like that. Then I will move on to staining. Okay, as you can see, I have this propped up. so that I can stain it, I am going to brush off any dust, and then I'm going to hit both sides with the stain. What I'll do is, as I stain, I'm going to be moving this out of the way so that I can stain underneath it, just so the stain is even. This is not the best way to do it. Ideally, I would wait and let each side dry, but I am short on time because I have a newborn that doesn't let me get anything done. So I try to do as much as I can all at once when I have a chance. So ideally, again, you would lay one side down, stain the other side, the top, let it dry, turn it, then stain the other side. That's not what I have time for today, so this is how we're gonna do it. Okay, so this is Minwax. It is the Provincial. I have some old fabric that is scraps that I want to use. I'm using a mask because I have asthma and I don't want to be breathing this in. And I'm using a glove under the hand that's going to be touching this because I don't want to get it on my hands because it's harder to get off. What do you say? You just wipe on like this, and you want to keep a really thin layer. This is not like painting where you want a thick layer so that you can hide what's going on underneath your paint. This is stained, so you want to wipe it off as much as you can. Dust this first. Okay, so the last thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be dry brushing some paint onto the top of this. My friend wants the other side to be left to stain, but we will use a dry brush, which is pretty much what it sounds like. Okay, so here we are. We've got our dry paintbrush. We have some paint. This is milk paint, actually, white milk paint. And we are going to get a little bit of paint on our brush. Now, once you get it on your brush, you want to get it off. And that's the idea behind the dry brushing, is you have very minimal amount of paint on. So we are just wiping it off as much as we can. And then we're just gonna brush it on. And you're kind of, you kind of want a floppy wrist here. If I was painting and trying to get a solid layer of paint on this, I would really be pressing down quite a bit more and a little bit more firmly, I guess, and to get like the full coverage. But we don't want full coverage for this. That is not our goal. Our goal is to make it look distressed. If you make a mistake and use more than you want, you can wipe it off before it dries, of course. Using a wet cloth. Okay, that's all there is to it. Here it is set up over my bookshelves. Right here in a second. Sorry. There it is, and it works pretty well. Alrighty, have fun. Make sure to subscribe and visit DIYDanielle.com.